And thank you very much, Rich. Well, do we need another stimulus package to avoid a double-dip recession? Joining us in Cassoni's Corner, Erica Payne, founder of the Agenda Project, and Mark Matson, founder and CEO of Matson Money. Welcome to both of you. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Do we need another stimulus package to get this economy out of the doldrums and avoid a double-dip recession?
Yeah, the stimulus that we've already had hasn't worked. I mean, unemployment was supposed to stop at 8. It's gone to 10, almost 10%. We got 9.5. We have 2.2 million people unemployed that weren't unemployed at the beginning of this thing. So the stimulus isn't working. Keynesian economics is clearly broken here. And you can't rob from Peter to pay Paul and expect this thing to grow. The jobs have to come from the private sector, and they have to come from small businesses. They have to come from entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are afraid because the dividends coming up, income taxes coming up, employee taxes are coming up. You've got to let this sector get back to growth, and the only way to do that is to get off their backs.
I don't know, Eric. I mean, Paul Krugman in the New York Times arguing that we do need more government intervention, that the government cannot just walk away from a down economy right now.
Right. Well, we've been in this situation before, which makes it a little bit easier to figure out what to do now. After the Great Depression in 1929, we went into a period of, re-regulating the financial markets and doing a big government stimulus program. And a lot of people argue that we got out of the Depression because of World War II. And if you think about it, what was World War II really, except for a gigantic government stimulus? And so as concerned as people should be about debt over the long term, in the short term, we've got to jumpstart the economy harder than we have already.
But Mark, I mean, she's making the point here about World War II, but I mean, at the same time, we had an actual reason for that spending. We weren't just printing money like we are now and just throwing it out into this, just throwing liquidity out into the system and just seeing where it sticks.
Well, yeah. There is no free lunch. Look, here, the only way long-term we can create jobs, and I'm not talking temporary, I'm talking long-term here, is somebody has to create value. Someone has to create a product. They've got to create the internet. They got to have a Yahoo. They got to have a cell phone, a new TV. You have to have technology that grows real long-term spending. If not, you got to increase taxes, or you have to inflate the currency. Both of those things are going to hurt the middle class, and entrepreneurs are not going to hire in this environment. You've already done the stimulus, and it hasn't been working. So, how much more can you sack the people that are creating wealth?
Erica, I mean, go ahead.
So a couple of things. The first one is that that Mark said we need to create I think essentially what you said is you need to create the circumstances in which the private sector can then kick in and help create jobs. So looking at the internet, for example, if you remember, the internet started as a Defense Department network of computers that then has spawned a whole new set of businesses. When you look at microchips, some of that technology was developed in the space program, which was a government spending plan. It's sort of like the raw materials of innovation come often from government spending. And so he's right that the stimulus has not worked as well as we would like for it to work, but a lot of that money hasn't been spent yet. And frankly, the stimulus was significantly smaller than many of the economists in the Obama administration recommended.
Let me bring in Frank and Kimberly and get kind of both of your points on this. I mean, one thing, I mean, Mark Kimberly is bringing up the jobs issue. He was saying, look, you've got he's saying 2 million. I'm actually thinking 3 million net job losses since the stimulus was enacted. If we can't spend $500 billion and get the economy rolling, then what is the point of stimulus?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think we need to repeat what we've done in the past. I don't think that worked. You've seen that actually didn't work long term. It produced perhaps a little bit of a short-term benefit, but not sustainable, and that's what we need. I think his approach is one that should be considered, which is get off the backs of businesses and entrepreneurs, let them put it back into the flow, into action, getting the economy going. I mean, the idea of war, that's also, one approach. I don't think I recommend that, but I see what she's saying. You've got to put money back into the market.
We are at war in Afghanistan, but I don't think that really applies here. Frank?
I think the problem is that the stimulus package that was put in place was totally wasted money. It was a lot of boondoggle projects. It really wasn't well thought out. And so what you do is you're creating a huge deficit going forward for a stimulus program that really doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Cut taxes, do things that are going to encourage entrepreneurs to start businesses, encourage small businesses to hire new employees. That's the type of focused stimulus we need. But we've already spent this money, and
Well, I think,
woefully in debt.
Eric, I think that goes back to Mark's point. I'll take this to you. I think that his point is that 75% of job creation is small businesses, Erica, and the president has come out time and time again saying he wants to help businesses to hire, but yet we've got 3 million net jobs lost in stimulus last year, and that was President Obama's plan.
Well, so you're exactly right about one thing, which is that a lot of the engine of our prosperity needs to come from business. And so what Obama did in the budget was he gave a tax break to small businesses. He also gave a tax break to...
Erica. They're not
well,
hiring.
It's not enough. I mean, the fact of the matter is it isn't enough. You have to increase the demand side of the economy. And I'll tell you one way that you're certainly not going to do it, which is with Republicans blocking the jobless benefits that should be extended. They went on vacation this weekend instead of extending the jobless benefits to millions of Americans who are out of work. So if you want small businesses like dry cleaners, like auto repair shops and things like that to be able to have customers come in and spend, they need to have a paycheck. And if you don't extend jobless benefits to the people who have lost their jobs through no fault of their own, you know, these are people who want to work who cannot currently find a job.
Okay,
we
Mark,
need to extend those benefits to them.
I think Erica's channeling Nancy Pelosi here for just a moment. Nancy Pelosi last week coming out and saying that we need to unextend unemployment benefits because that is the best way to create jobs.
You can't create jobs by extending unemployment. You have to let the entrepreneurs get to work and solve this problem. And here's the bad news. You can't just give a tax cut. The demand side, supply side, they're both wrong. You have to have the creation of human capital. And what that means is to the extent that either a company, an individual, or the government creates more wealth than it destroys or consumes, you have growth of capital. And that's not happening. What we're saying here with more stimulus would be like someone who's going into bankruptcy, trying to say, hey, and I don't want to say we're going into bankruptcy in here, but, it would be like someone saying, hey, let's do more credit cards when we're going into debt. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. People have to create value and stop spending other people's money.
Mark makes a great point that that businesses need to create products for people to buy. The question here, though, is who is going to buy them if they do not have any money? I mean, it's very straightforward. I can go create the best product in the world. If I'm trying to sell it to somebody who hasn't had a job in 35 weeks and the Republicans cut off their jobless benefits, I'm not exactly sure what currency they're going to use to pay for my great new product.
Erica Payne and Mark Mattson, you're both so smart. I have a feeling you'll both come up with great ideas for next week's Cassoni's Corner. Great to have you on the show as usual. Thanks to both of you.
Guys.